just realized the camera is at a different angle than it was last week, so I don't know if things are gonna be weird. Anyway, so, Modern Wizard was scheduled to arrive here last Thursday. Her flight was supposed to arrive at 5:58 p.m. So, at about 2:30, I'm on the computer, I'm replying to stuff on YouTube. It's kind of dark and gloomy outside, but it's not storming, but still, there's a flash of lightning and pop of thunder and it's so close that it's simultaneous, and it knocks out our electricity. Which, since we got switched over to fiber a few months ago, that means it knocked out our phone too, because we used to be on copper landline, but no telco apparently wants to maintain copper landlines anymore, so we're all on VoIP if we even have a landline. Anyway, but we have the cell phone, it's a flip phone. Oh, the lightning strike was so close that I have a little ceramic jack-o'-lantern over there, and normally it's just in front of the terminal for the fiber line, so it has these orange flashing lights on it, so it kind of looks like a flickering jack-o'-lantern. But I also have the guts from one of those bouncy balls that has lights in it, so when you throw it, it makes a spring, makes contact, and it flashes for a while. Well, the bouncy ball guts were just sitting there, nothing moving, but there was so much electricity in the air that it set that thing off when the power got knocked out. So anyway, no VoIP, but we have a cheap track phone, flip phone, cell phone, so we call and report the power outage and start waiting and waiting and waiting. And it's getting closer and closer and closer to 6. And I doubt the flight's going to be early, but still, 6 o'clock comes and goes, and it's like, wait, what? Can't call here. There's, on the outside of the flip phone, the little display there's an exclamation point. When you open up, you don't see the exclamation point, so I start freaking out. Does that mean there's something wrong with the phone signal? Can people not place incoming calls? Is my friend at the airport trying to call me and not getting anything and doesn't know anyone else in town and is freaking out because, air travel does that to you anyway? And finally we see the electric company truck going up and down the road, and they stop and they change a fuse on a pole here for a transformer, and then they go up the road and change another fuse up there, and then they circle back around and change a fuse here and change a fuse there. And at one point the house over there has electricity because the person's gone, and for whatever reason when people are gone here, they turn on their porch lights, I guess, so everybody knows, hey, no one's home, because I never turn my porch light on anyway. So anyway, the porch lights are on in that house, so there's electricity. No electricity here. The cherry picker electric service truck is starting to drive out of the neighborhood. Husband goes down, flags them down, says, we don't have electricity. So they look at him like he doesn't know what he's talking about. They go up the pole, they change the fuse, boom, electricity. All right, we turn everything back on, and my computer can't just says the internet. So apparently the lightning strike, and it just took out our road, because there were neighbors who started walking around, and you go down to the next road, and they said that 3 houses in that road had no electricity, but everybody else had electricity. Up the rest of the road, no electricity. So it's just our road. So finally figured out that the network card in my computer is toast. So they're able to go to wireless, and I get on the internet, and I go to my email, and there's an email from Modern Wizard saying, my flight's canceled, I'm in DC, and I'm going to be here until my flight leaves at 9 o'clock tonight. It's like, okay, I'm horribly, horribly sorry that you have to stay a layover at DC for 7 hours, but I'm also so glad I didn't miss picking you up from the airport. So, things go normally from there, and we pick Modern Wizard up at about 11:30 at night, and come home, and first surprising thing, usually when people come into the house, Chip hides for 2 hours. And if the people are still here after 2 hours, Chip comes in and is your friend. But we walk in here about midnight, and Chip immediately gives a big rub to Modern Wizard. And of course, Floof is being adorable, so things start well after that, and Nada gets here the next morning, Nada Lunasands, and we did have to go back to the airport to get Modern Wizard's luggage, which got diverted to a different flight because just airport fun. So things start going well and we have a lot of fun. And there are a few pictures, but not many, because when I'm getting into something, I completely forget to take pictures. Nada said, by the way, Nada had a relative who was a little bit of a fabric hoarder and said, you know, over the years, Nada has sent me big boxes of cloth that I have used, and said, can I bring more? It's like, okay, well, I didn't expect Nada to completely load the car with it. So there's like 18 to 20 gallon tubs, plus like a few more boxes and bags are probably worth a couple more tubs each. And I have been having fun, but slowly sorting through all of that stuff. And I am not letting myself use the dolls that Nada traded that I'm supposed to be sewing for, that I didn't sew like last weekend because, you know, I poked myself in the eye. So I'm not letting myself get to those dolls until after I finish my trade. But there's still so much to show you that I'm not even going to show you everything that I am allowing myself to have this week. First I want to show you, since Modern Wizard was on a flight, so just had to keep things luggage size, but did bring a few things when the luggage finally got here. And first one handed to me is special edition Barbie doll from Craft Treasures. What year is this? 1992. Craft Treasures and Craft Cheezosaurus Rex. Trademark of Craft General Foods. Anyway, so this was the Barbie. Her shoes just fell out. She is. Shoes. So I will probably carefully cut off this sad excuse of a collar because it's not hemmed and it's not a collar. And maybe even cut the skirt off. I'm not sure about the sleeves. And anyway, just make a shirt, a Cheezosaurus Rex shirt. So that was cool, that was thank you. And then more dolls got removed from the bag. One of which is this gal, who, when taken out of the bag, the legs were not attached. So this, she is a souvenir doll. I'm not sure, I have no clue besides Europe where she's from. This head dress is probably very distinct. It's a red velvet cap with the bow on the top. And her skirt is, I think it is actually felt and not fulled wool. But it is real wool, I can tell by the way my hands itch. So she's pretty old, you can tell by how higher quality her materials are. I mean, she's hollow thin plastic, but it's not cheap blow molded plastic. And her paint is pretty good for one of these dolls. You know I love souvenir dolls anyway. And she has very cute sculpted shoes and socks. But her legs were no longer attached. The way the legs were originally, and I have hair in my eye. I mentioned that Floof was into everything and everybody and being super charming the whole time. People were here, right? Because she was. So the doll's legs were not attached. The way they're originally attached is there is a small steel plate with a sort of punch bit in the middle that was pushed out to make a shank, or a little loop. And one end of a spring was threaded through it. And then there was a same thing on the other side, shank with a plate with a shank in it, and the spring was wrapped around it. Well, the shank on this side, the little metal plate with a shank in it, was so old and deteriorated and brittle that it had fallen apart. So I used a magnet to fish it up to the top of the hole, and I was thought, well, maybe I can pull it out with pliers and wrap the spring around it again and push it back in. But when I started pulling it out with pliers, it was just pulling apart. So I stopped trying to take that out. And what I ended up doing was getting just a cheap plastic bead that was slightly larger than the hole in the leg, straighten out the end of the spring, putting it through the bead and wrapping it around the bead so that the spring was secured to the bead, and then pushing the bead into the top of the leg. So now she has legs that are attached. And I haven't decided if she looks like she's a little dirty and I should probably try to clean her, or if that's just patina and age. So she was a lovely surprise. And then Modern Wizard pulled out another doll who was just... Look at that face. She is so done. I love her. Unfortunately, you see she is a little broken. There's actually, I didn't realize till I was like trying to fasten her garment that there's actually like her pate is missing under here, so I don't know how likely it is that this whole top of her head could become detached. So I will probably fill this in what I can reach with epoxy putty and hope I can paint it to match. Because I think I can do that without going over any of her wonderfully done paint. And it does feel like this might actually be silk. If it's not silk, it's a very high quality synthetic, but I'm pretty sure it is silk. And she will not, I might put a little fabric, not fabric tack, a little tack of thread in to help keep her I'm forgetting the technical term for when these not ball buttons go into the loops. Anyway, yeah, are they frogs? Yeah, they're frogs. I will keep her frogs closed with a little tack of thread and eventually fix her forehead and maybe try to fix her hair. I don't want to do too much to her. But I just love her expression. So those were the Modern Wizard dolls. And then I started going, like I said, I'm leaving the dolls that were brought as trade aside, and there's another doll I'm going to wait till next week to show you because I have a feeling I won't have done much besides sort doll clothes and maybe have sewn a few more things, which incidentally the stuff that I did sew and gave to Nada, she loved, and she put on some of the dolls she brought immediately and took pictures, so that's good. So I just keep sewing really loud pants and shirts for the dolls and it should be okay. But when I was going through the bags and bins of cloth and sewing notions and sewing supplies and things, I did find other dolls and doll-like parts here and there. There was one box that had doll stuff in. A lot of it's like BJD parts, which I'm leaving alone for now, but there was I thought I was going to show you this in the plastic remote, but then it would make it really hard to see because it would just see plastic. Anyway, a nano Hujo Freya. This is the teeny tiny one, which the larger one I have that I painted. I also got this in a trade with Nada. So I will get the smaller one painted eventually. I don't know if I'm going to paint it the same as her or paint it differently, but so I have. That was a nice surprise, and there is a tail and magnets for the tail. I don't think I'm quite recovered from the weekend yet. I'm still kind of tired. So that will be a fun someday project. And you know, everything I have is a someday project. Okay, I see what it was like. And also in there was the live action Wizard of Oz witch, who I'll see what I can do with her. I mean, we've got the gummy legs, but other than that, she's still green. I will probably try to soften her face, especially that chin. And I'll see what I can do with her. So green doll, no hair. Nice. And blast from the past. Again, I don't think you'll be able to see this through the plastic. Yes, it's so old that the plastic is falling apart. A stock painted Obitsu head. She is W04, the sculpt. I remember when Obitsu dolls were new, I was too much of a cheapskate to ever get one that was fully painted. I think I got one or two that had the hair rooted but no paint on the face, and I know I got several with nothing, so I could do what I wanted. But now I do appreciate the stock paint. So I will get a body fixed up for this eventually. Probably sooner than later, because that'll be a fairly easy project. And then randomly digging around, I found Migo Friar Tuck that I think Sony tried to fill in his tonsure, the bald spot on top. And this is how he was dressed when I found him, which I think is amusing because when I was a kid back in the early 80s, we went to a yard sale and I actually bought a pack of these. I guess they're what you call koozie now. It goes on the outside of a soda can to like absorb, not to keep it cold, it's not foam, it's just terry cloth, so it goes on to absorb the sweat from the can. And I use those for doll skirts and doll dresses too, so that's just extra amusing to me. And digging around a little more in another bag, I found Teresa. This is the, that line of Barbies from the late 90s who all had a corduroy themed like overalls, but the overall line didn't have a name. It wasn't like corduroy cool Barbie and corduroy cool Teresa and corduroy cool Christy and corduroy cool Skipper. They each had their own name, but they were obviously a line. This was the Teresa from that line, because I know that because she has a painted on thumb ring. I don't know if the light's catching up to see that, which that line had. So that's cool. She has a slightly different skin tone than most gymnast Barbie bodies. And then digging around a little more, I found this. A tiny little apple doll, seriously. I don't know how familiar people are with little apple dolls. They were these spooky type dolls from the early 2000s. And I guess there were, I didn't even know they made miniature versions of the whole line, but this is miniature. This is the miniature dolls, which they are versions of the big dolls, and the big dolls are bigger. I've never actually had a real little apple doll. And they all came with little apples. And the bigger ones had hair instead of this plastic, so I am very tempted to customize the hair on this one somehow. I don't know if I will make a wig for her so she has real hair, or if I'll just cut this off so it's a bob, so it hangs a little more naturally instead of this. So anyway, little apple doll. And then digging around in like the sewing notions and things, I know this technically isn't a proper doll since she has a hanger. She's more of an ornament. I found this, which has an embroidered K in the back of her cape and is actually pretty well made, so I'm guessing this is not something mass produced. This might be some sort of an art doll, but I don't know. And well, I'll put this over here. I wasn't going to show you this because it needs to be cleaned, but I found it in about the same place as her. And I do intend to soak it to try to clean it. And this, which does boast made in Japan. But with a sticker like that, it's pretty obviously made in Japan quite a while ago. And speaking of things made in Japan quite a while ago, I was digging through sewing notions and things. I think this was a big box full of mostly sewing notions. I found this, which, yes, this is very Chinese, and yes, China. And I opened it, and I literally went, because it's a tiny, tiny little bunka doll. I'm trying to hold her up so you can see a tiny, tiny little dot of a mouth. And she is on a string as sort of an ornament, but I'm sure I will just end up with some of my other dolls holding her, because it's just so cute. And I said there are more dolls and doll things to show, but I'm going to show at least one of them next week and see what else I do next weekend. And so we had a fun time. There's really, I mean, I can't really tell you everything we did because mostly what we did was dolls. We did go out shopping one day. We went to Tuesday morning, where Modern Wizard found one of the Marnie Cinnavante dolls for $15, and we talked Modern Wizard into getting that. And Modern Wizard really brought back and started making it a Modern Wizard doll, like getting it out of the fancy clothes and do a mix of clothes and giving it personality. And we went to Bargain Hunt, and Nada found the Frida Kahlo doll for like $17, so got that. And we went to the Goodwill. That was so disappointing. There was like nothing on the shelves in the dolls and housewares, so that was weird. There was a desk I really liked, but there was no way I could have gotten that desk home. And I was also amused that the label on it was just long desk. So I liked long desk. So anyway, I have no idea how long this video is. I feel like it hasn't been that long because, well, I have done a lot doll related since last week. A lot of it was being social, which you can't really put on videotape. Videotape. Yeah, I'm tired. Video camera. So, thanks for watching. Hopefully next week I've gotten more rest and be a little more focused and have more stuff to show you. Thanks for watching.